This is Taiwan Cable. I'm Yang Guangshun. Did Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te sneak into Eswatini, as China claims? Of course not. If anything, it is China that should be blamed for using coercive or even illegal means to pressure Taiwan. Earlier today, President Lai Ching-te announced that he has successfully visited Eswatini, Taiwan's only diplomatic ally in Africa. This should have been a routine visit, but it was not. In fact, the trip had already been delayed because of pressure from China. Originally, President Lai planned to visit Eswatini in late April to attend the 40th year of the Swazi king Eswatini III on the throne. At that time, China used economic pressure on 3 African countries, including Seychelles, Mauritius, and Madagascar, all participants in China's Belt and Road Initiative, to deny overflight access to President Lai's plane. Later, Bloomberg reported that Taiwan had already explored transiting the flight through Germany and the Czech Republic, but those options were rejected by these two governments. Taiwan's foreign ministry has not confirmed this report. So, President Lai's successful arrival today was unexpected. Many believed his trip would not happen at all. Before this, Taiwan's foreign minister Lin Jialong had already visited Eswatini as a special envoy. Eswatini's deputy prime minister also visited Taiwan on April 30th. However, President Lai, according to reports, took the same aircraft, which is the Swazi king's personal plane that the deputy prime minister had used to visit Taiwan, to visit Eswatini. This arrangement sends 2 clear signals. First, the relationship between Taiwan and Eswatini remains strong. Second, Taiwan is determined to break through China's diplomatic blockade. But China's response was immediate. The Chinese Foreign Ministry condemned President Lai's trip as a sneak visit, which is a very special and unconventional term used by the Chinese government. In Chinese official language, 竄访, often translated as sneak visit, carries a very negative meaning. It suggests some secretive, improper, even shameful behavior, like the moves of a mouse. China often uses it to describe visits by Taiwanese presidents and other senior officials, like former President Tsai Ing-wen's transit in the US in 2023, or foreign leaders' visits to Taiwan, such as the one by former US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in 2022. But here's the reality. These visits are not provocative. They are normal exchanges. The reason China labels them in this way is simple. Beijing does not recognize Taiwan's sovereignty, so any normal diplomatic activity between Taiwan and any other countries is framed as a provocation. And in this case, President Lai had to take an unusual route precisely because China had already pressured other countries to block his travel. Beijing's behavior itself has drawn criticism internationally. Now, is the way President Lai traveled really that negative? Actually, he followed a pattern called Arrival Then Announce, or ATA. Definitely, it is usually not the first choice for a visit. It is taken mostly under a special or even dangerous situation. Also, it may seem unusual, but it is not without precedent. In 1971, Dr. Henry Kissinger, the National Security Advisor for Richard Nixon, secretly traveled to Beijing after his visit to Pakistan, an event that became a turning point in US-China relations. China still celebrates this as a diplomatic success rather than a sneak visit. More recently, in 2023, the former US President Joe Biden visited Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, which was and still is in a war with Russia. For security reasons, Biden did not take a direct flight to Kyiv. Instead, he traveled through Poland and entered Ukraine by train. Looking ahead, there are several things we need to watch. First, will China conduct military exercises around Taiwan as it did after Nancy Pelosi's visit in 2022? Second, beyond military pressure, China will likely escalate its information and propaganda campaigns. We are already seeing this. China and its enablers in Taiwan are mocking President Lai's trip as improper and in a stealthy way, rather than questioning China's own role in creating these obstacles. If China does carry out military drills, it will likely blame President Lai for causing the instability in the Indo-Pacific, even though it will be China that overreacts and escalates the situation. Third, we should watch whether China increases pressure on Taiwan's remaining diplomatic allies, either through coercion or financial incentives. In the end, the key point is simple. Taiwan is not the troublemaker. China is. And if China is willing to make troubles, then the international community should be ready to stand behind Taiwan and its partners.